The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. A lot is happening around us, and that is the reason to which I need you to stop. Look at your phone. Look at the price of fuel in your car and the food on your table. In the last 24 hours, the invisible thread that hold the global economy together have been set on fire. We aren't just talking about another clash. We are talking about the systematic dismantling of the world's energy hub. Israel struck the largest gas field on earth. Iran fired back at the largest LNG facility in the world. And in the middle of this chaos, the President of the United States of America is telling a story that his own officials are calling a lie. This is the latest Dodging One, and today we expose the gap between the headlines and the heat. On March 18th, the Israeli Air Force flew south. Their target? The South Pass gas field. To understand the gravity, you must understand the scale. This isn't just a refinery. This is the single largest natural gas reserve on the planet, shared between Iran and Qatar. It holds 51 trillion cubic meters of gas. 80% of Iran's electricity comes from here. When those bombs dropped, they weren't just hitting a military target. They were hitting the heaters in 90 million homes and the power in every Iranian hospital. In the center of it all is the denial that came from the President of the United States of America. I read what he has posted on his social media. Israel acted out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East and violently lashed out at the facility. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack by Israel against Iran's natural gas reservoir. Only a small section of the gas field was hit. No more attacks will be made by Israel on the South Pass unless Iran again targeted Qatar. In which case, the United States of America, with or without the help or consent of Israel, would massively blow up the entirety of the South Pass gas field at an amount of strength and power that Iran has never seen or witnessed before.
From Lebanon to the Gulf states, the US and Israeli war on Iran is leading to even more regional escalation. The Saudi Defense Ministry has confirmed that the nation's largest oil refinery, located in the Red Sea, has been hit by a drone. Huge plumes of flames and smoke can be seen here rising into the sky. The damage to the refinery is still being assessed. As Riyadh has warned that it may respond militarily to Iran's strike, saying it has lost trust in Tehran. As global fuel prices spike, Donald Trump has denied Washington knew about an Israeli strike on Iran's largest gas field. That attack triggered retaliatory fire against several Gulf states. The US president's claim is now being disputed by the country's former ambassador to Israel.
Israel, out of anger for what has taken place in the Middle East, has violently lashed out at a major facility known as South Pars gas field in Iran. The United States knew nothing about this particular attack, and the country of Qatar was in no way, shape, or form involved with it, nor did it have any idea that it was going to happen.
Trump can post whatever he likes, but there is zero chance the IDF would conduct a strike in that location without giving CENTCOM full visibility. Trump knew and approved. Now he realizes it caused a major escalation with Iran's entirely unjustified attacks on Gulf energy targets.
We can discuss this more with RT correspondent Igor Zhdanov now, joining me in the studio. Igor, thanks for coming in. So, seems like we're seeing a breakdown in communication between the US and Israeli sides. What more can you tell us?
Well, absolutely. At least what is certain is that there's been a discrepancy as to what they will reveal to the public and what they will have as the official line. Because, of course, you have Donald Trump saying, oh, he wasn't in the loop, he wasn't in the know whatsoever. The Israelis, though, going and saying that, well, actually, that's not the case. Actually, we planned this whole strike together. And really, right now, I have to say that the Israeli version, it looks more plausible, just given the ties that the United States and Israel are sharing. But speaking about the strike in question here. I mean, it's fascinating just how much the global economy is, tethered to this tiny, tiny spot on the map, seemingly insignificant if you just throw a quick glance at it. This is the strike against Iran's South Pars gas facility. It is difficult to overestimate just how important it is for Iran and for Iran's production of the liquid natural gas. Now, in total, Iran produces just over 270 billion cubic meters, and more than 260 of those yearly are produced just over there in that tiny spot. Just to be clear, that's close to how much Europe is actually consuming when it comes to the production of to the consumption of natural gas. Now, this spot is shared with Qatar, and it's called North Pars in Qatar. It is also very significant for the global economy. They're producing a lot of gas there. We'll get to that later. Already, spot prices and futures are already creeping up to the 70 euro mark there. So this is not something that the European economy wants or needs right now.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be feeling this. So that was the attack in South Pars that we just talked about. There was another strike.
Absolutely. Also against Iran. So here you have the gas production facilities inside Iran. You have a nuclear power station. It is Russia is helping Iran operate it. And it has been hit as well. It's unclear. I mean, neither the United States nor Israel have claimed responsibility for the strike. Iran, of course, is blaming Israel. This is what the facility looks like right now, of course, pre-strike. Because, again, this is something, a strike, a direct attack targeting an atomic facility. It was unthinkable, at least until Ukraine started targeting Russian facilities in the war zone. But that's, of course, it is quite relevant to what's going on in Iran. And Russia's chief of the Russian atomic nuclear energy giant, Rosatom, he has already voiced very, very deep concerns over this strike.
On Tuesday, power unit number 1 of the Bushehr station was attacked. This is the first direct shelling of the plant's territory. It's definitely the first in this conflict, and probably the first direct shelling of a nuclear power plant. What seemed unacceptable yesterday, and it was terrifying to even think about, has happened. And other than our reaction and the IAEA's, we haven't heard anything from anyone. This is a bit disconcerting, because of course, if an incident were to occur, it would be at least regional in scope and would affect a large number of countries in the Middle East. None of the parties to the conflict would escape exposure to radiation if a serious accident occurred at Bushehr. Therefore, I believe that leaders and parliamentarians must play their part in this. They must do everything possible to prevent even the risk, even the hint, of possible direct strikes on the territory of an operating unit from recurring. Currently, the radiation situation is normal. The radiation level is what's called natural. Neither we nor international observers have recorded any emissions. I can't say who carried out the attack, simply because I don't have the necessary information, but I can say that both the US and Israeli military leadership know this for sure. They have the coordinates of the operating unit, the units under construction and the public facilities, and we once again appeal to the leadership of all parties to the conflict. The nuclear power plant must be turned into a safe haven, preventing any risk or any possibility of a strike.
The president claims total ignorance. But here is the problem. The truth is leaking. Israeli officials have already confirmed to international media that this strike was coordinated with and approved by the United States of America or the White House. It wasn't only the Israelis, even the American defense officials are going on the record saying Trump was briefed in advance. So, either the president is lying to avoid a regional war, or his own generals are running a war without him. Either way, the credibility of the international order is currently at zero. This is how far the escalation of the war is, and it is going to hit you and I harder. Iran didn't wait for a diplomatic letter. They launched. Qatar, Iranian missiles slammed into Ras Rafan, the world's largest LNG export facility. 20% of the world's supply just went up in smoke. Qatar, usually the mediator, has now expelled Iranian diplomats and invoked Article 51, the right to self-defense. Saudi Arabia, ballistic missiles hit the Samrif refinery. a joint venture with American giant ExxonMobil. Kuwait and UAE refineries are burning. American air bases are catching debris from intercepted missiles. This didn't happen in a vacuum. In the 48 hours before the gas field was hit, Israel executed a decapitation campaign. They unalived Iranian Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, the de facto ruler of the country. They unalived the intelligence minister. They unalived the head of internal security. Israel is trying to cut off the head of the snake, but the snake is still biting. Every assassination narrows the space for peace. Every bomb on a gas field makes the regime change the West once less likely. Global energy collapse more certain. Things are happening. But Iran is still standing tall. Why does this matter to you in the Sahel or West Africa? Because when oil hits $114, you pay a war tax. It's not just petrol. It's the fertilizer for your crops. It's the cost of moving food from the farm to the market. While Europe cries about their gas prices, the global south is being choked by a conflict that didn't start. The West claimed to protect civilian infrastructure, but they were silent when Iranian civilians were breathing toxic fumes from bombing storage tanks. They only care about the rule-based order when their own lights go out. And this is why it matters to us the most in Africa. The world is a global village and we are all part of it. And that is the reason to which whatever affects them affects us. We are going to pay for a price that we are never involved. We are on day 20 of this war and there is no exit strategy. The Strait of Hormuz is functionally closed. The world's largest gas field is a hostage and the leader of the free world is threatening to blow up the entirety of a nation's energy supply. When the shepherd is a wolf, the sheep have no hope. The people making these decisions have no plan for the aftermath. They only know how to escalate. Africa, this is our time to also wake up. The world is moving faster and we are feeling the heat. And this is the time for us all to unite together. We save our continent. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we'll make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. Middle East, and Iran.